Greatness shows up after you're tired. Let's say it one more time, man. Greatness shows up after you're tired, not when you're tired. And breakthroughs don't happen until you reach your breaking point. Been there many times, man, at that place I didn't want to go on, and I realized that strength can't develop until your strength is gone. You got to keep pushing, because character and courage is developed or lost when you decide to keep going or to give up. You see, that's the point. You got to stop, and you got to realize that's your breakthrough coming right there, because when others that are around you won't, you will be the one that goes ahead. Somebody has to step up and go a little bit farther. Is that somebody you? How many says that's me? I want to go a little farther. Welcome to our show, FurtherMore, where you're going to find education, motivation, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Mark.
And I'm Dr. Michelle, and we are here to push you and encourage you to go a little farther in all aspects of your life and to do more and become more than you ever thought possible.
Education, as we know, is the key. Information is king, but wisdom will always remain supreme. So prepare yourself for the latest news and hottest headlines.
Truth bombs, amazing guests, relevant and impactful information, and life-changing plans. You are being prepared for the best days of your life.
So buckle those seatbelts and put those tray tables up and prepare for the best journey of your life.
Right here, right now.
On FurtherMore. Thank you for joining us, folks. We're excited and pumped up to be here with you, and we have tonight for our show. Folks, we're here to encourage you and push you to go a little bit further in all aspects of your life. Just kind of doing what we do is never good enough. We've got to go a little bit harder, go a little bit further, and do a little bit more. It's all about maintaining great hope, great health, and great freedom from the greatest distractions in life: sickness, disease, death, and lack. Folks, we can do better. We should do better. We have to set our bar of expectation at a higher level, don't we?
Absolutely. And that's what we're here for. We're here to take you a little bit higher. And in today's show, we just can't wait to talk about what's coming up.
Happy New Year! Not? Wait a minute. It's not New Year yet. What are we doing?
Well, is it too early to start?
No.
New Year's resolution.
Never too early to start. No, it's not. Because the new year, when you think about it, actually begins when? Does it have to be tied to a calendar, do you think?
I don't think so. Every single solitary day, we get 1,440 minutes in a day, and we can be resolved to start that resolution right now.
I know what people are doing right now. They're out there going, 1,440 minutes, is that right? They're getting their iPhone out.
Clock is ticking.
Wait a minute, there's 60 seconds a minute. Remember, there's 60 minutes in an hour. Just, they don't teach that in school anymore, just FYI. There's 60 minutes an hour.
And they don't really talk about how there's 24 hours in every single day.
They don't even talk about math and science.
For. And guess what? We don't get any refunds on our time.
When you spend your time in the idea of life, folks, it's not like going to a department store or a grocery store and say, I'm not happy with my purchase, and taking it back. You can't get a refund of this. So you got to be super careful about where you spend your time, don't you?
That's right. We've got to allocate that time. And one of the things most of us, it's not guilty of, but one of the things we need to resolve to do better is to take some personal time and allocate that every single day in areas of nutrition, in the areas of exercise, in the areas of stress management, and of course, sleep.
Yeah, when you don't allocate personal time, you really can't prepare yourself for spending any time with an individual person. The Bible talks about, loving your neighbor as yourself, but until you learn to love yourself properly and appropriately, you can't really love your neighbor to the fullest. And so really, when you talk about spending your time, and we talk about this a lot every day, what are we doing right now so that we don't have regrets in the purchasing actions we've done of our time. It's a big deal, folks. So wherever you spend your time, you make sure you're preparing yourself so that when you spend time with other people, it's quality time.
Well, that's right. And if we don't actually think about where we're spending that time, a lot of wasted time goes by. So if we want to get the most of our life and we want to have the best new year, we have to resolve to be conscious of where we're spending that time and who we're spending that time with.
There's nobody, and I mean nobody, that I'd rather spend time with than her.
And ditto.
And it's true. I mean, we're best friends. So it's like, I think friendship should be a prerequisite for marriage. Just FYI, just an idea for you guys out there. But the idea behind it is, you should be happy to spend time with the persons that are closest to you so that the time is spent in a quality manner. Now, I would be remiss, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention this. It's good to love all people, but in the concept of spending appropriate time, sometimes you have to love people from a greater distance, at least some people, that is. And it doesn't mean you don't love them, but some people will drain the life out of your time, won't they?
They certainly will. And what is it? We need to set good boundaries around food, around people and relationships, and even relationships in business, friendship relationships, and relationships even in the gym.
Yeah, and if we can't set boundaries in all those areas, and boundaries really are an aspect of time, if we can't set boundaries in the areas, we have no concept of time. So under the idea of really weighing out and balancing out and thinking through, and yes, praying through, where are you going to spend your time, with whom, and what are you going to be doing, we really need to weigh these matters very carefully because, again, just a reminder again, you don't get refunds. And so all these things matter and they should be thought about on a routine basis.
Absolutely. Like, how do you schedule your day? If you don't allocate some self-time, that's failure to plan. And if we fail to plan, we're actually planning to fail. So we want to set ourselves up for success as we're moving into the new year by allocating our time appropriately.
Well, totally. And it's a big deal because back to our initial statement, 1,440 minutes. What are we going to be doing with that time? Think about this. We'll be back.
Every morning, you're granted 1,440 minutes in your day, and you have a choice to be awesome. What will you do with the 1,440 minutes you have today? When you wake up and you're preparing for your commute, you need to understand one important thing, and that is every note matters. And these are the notes of your family, your friends, your peers, your community. They all influence the melody to your song. And the power of knowing your note is knowing that you can make a difference. No matter what you do, you'll need to challenge yourself to be the best version of you and never ever give up. You can be the reason why someone smiles today. When you smile, you resonate. When you smile, your mind is joyous. When you smile, your positivity is contagious. In music, every note matters. Play your notes with passion and listen to the notes of everyone around you. You have 1,440 minutes to play your song because you're not here to be average. You're here to be awesome.
This is not something that is a Mark idea and a Michelle idea. This is a God idea. This thing right here has a 2-year shelf life. When we think about the problems we have in America with our food supply, what are we going to eat, what are we going to do? Stock up on something that's going to help you. This is organic pea protein, greens and reds, fibers, and multivitamins and minerals. It will stay good for 2 years. How many have wondered what you're going to eat if things go south? Kingdom Fuel right here.
Oh, you got to
Wow.
love that FMI laboratory.
Haven't we had a lot of fun working in our laboratory?
Yeah, every human is an experiment. I'm an experiment. She's an experiment. She's the most beautiful experiment between us. But honest to goodness, when you look at the functionality of the human body and then you try to bring, its chemistry, its nutrients back up to sort of this standardized place where it's supposed to operate efficiently, it's like a big experiment, isn't it?
It is. It is like a big experiment. And every single solitary system is unique and operates just a little bit different. Even though all of our genes are how much alike?
99.9% alike. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, all the way down to the immune system.
Wow. So that means that our genes have changed only 2% in 10,000 years. They're 99.9% identical between individual, but yet in that 0.1%, we're all different. And the genes actually determine the functionality of our systems. Some systems work different than others in other people. Let's look at the very important system we have right now, this thing we call the immune system. And the immune system is super important. So when you think about the immune system, I want us to start over there at the left of this graphic. You're going to see this term called inducers. Now, inducers are multiple fold, aren't they?
They certainly are. From viruses, parasites, bacteria. Boy, all of these different things stimulate the immune cells in different ways.
And let's don't forget, that's what bacteria looks like. We live with bacteria, we live with viruses, we live with parasites and all this kind of stuff. But as we think about that graphic, we go there right below the inducers, we see that term tissue damage. Let us not forget that when we have tissue damage based upon tissue injury, which could be by exercising, intentional injury, or maybe accident, all of these things push the immune system in. As you go to the right there, you're going to see the mast cell, dendritic cell, and macrophage. Those are your immune cells.
Those are your immune cells. And if you continue to go to the right, you see the mediators there, like tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin 1, interleukin 6, all of those things have effect on what we call target tissue, the liver, the intestines, and even what's going on in the vessels, that lowest picture there on the right.
Now, I want to draw your attention very quickly to that top box in the mediators section. Tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNF, IL-1, interleukin 1, and IL-6, interleukin 6. Those are pro-inflammatory signals. So the immune system, when it's induced through the immune cells, triggers inflammation, which is then sent to the target tissues. So we can see here clearly that the inflammation function is important for the idea of healing, isn't it?
We have to have inflammation in order to set the system in motion on its way to heal an injury, heal a cut, a bruise, a broken bone. The immune system is very important with that aspect of inflammation.
Now, we live in a world where there's all kinds of pollution and all kinds of different viruses and all kinds of different pathogens, another word for these things like viruses, bacteria, and parasites. The problem is when we get induced so much with the immune system, we get this subsequent inducement of the inflammation signals. And this is a massive important thing to understand because chronic systemic inflammation is rampant today, isn't it?
It is, and chronic systemic inflammation is the precursor to all chronic sickness and disease. So it starts with inflammation first. And if inflammation is spun out of control and the system can't calm down from it, here comes those adult diseases that none of us like to have. High blood pressure, depression, fibromyalgia, the aches and pains. It all starts with excessive inflammation.
Two things. Number one, we don't want to look at inflammation as a bad thing. But on the other hand, it can be a bad thing if we get too much of it. The greatest inducers of the immune system, though, friends, are not going to be viruses, bacteria, parasites, or even tissue injury. The greatest inducers are, guess what? Genetically modified, chemically laden foods.
That's what's at the end of your fork.
Oh my gosh. So it's actually, fork curls are important, but you can also do fork curls that produce death by putting the wrong thing in your mouth. So GMO foods are very treacherous in their design. Check them out in this short little video.
GM stands for genetically modified, which is the process of changing the genes of a living thing to alter its characteristics. For example, plants can be genetically modified to help them grow in areas where water is scarce or to be more resistant to pests. Some of the most common crops that are modified are soybean, maize, and cotton. The United States is the top producer of GM crops in the world, followed by Brazil and Argentina. In Africa, GM crops are grown commercially in South Africa, Sudan, Egypt, and Burkina Faso. Genetically modified foods are controversial because critics say the technology is messing with nature. There are also concerns that mass production of GM crops can force smaller independent farms out of business. Genetic modification can increase the amount of food that crops produce, giving us all more to eat. And fruit can be altered so that it grows bigger and lasts longer. So, is GM the food of the future? Tomatoes are usually red, right? But this strange-looking purple tomato was created by scientists to have the same health benefits as fruit such as blueberries. This golden rice has been adapted to be rich in vitamin A, which is good for our eyes. And this onion has had its genes altered so it doesn't make you cry.
All those GMOs. And you got to ask yourself, sweetheart, is that really the food of the future, or is that the poison of the future?
Time will definitely tell.
I think time is already ticking on this because we're seeing, because of these genetically modified crops, when you alter the genetic material or DNA of that as the way God designed, you're actually trying to outdo God or trying to outsmart him. And folks, that just never, ever works out well. So we're exposed to this stuff, we eat it, we consume it, but we have a solution for you. There you go.
And we're excited about this, especially at this time of the year. If you go to our website, sherwood.tv, you can find our immune support packs. And let me tell you, these immune support packs are chock full of nutrients that support the immune system, especially in the face of bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites. When the climate on the inside gets compromised, you want to have plenty of ammunition to go after those offending agents. So the immune support packs on Sherwood.tv is a win at this time. And as the holiday season approaches, what a great gift to give your family, your friends, your neighbors. Even I'd even give it to my enemies. It's so good.
Yeah, you're supposed to bless your enemies and not curse them. So this is a way to bless them. And so the longer they stay alive, the more they can hear the good news of our friendship in their lives. So there you go, enemies. Purchase immune packs, and I think you'll be blessed by that. You can actually be gripey a little bit longer and be mean a little bit longer, but that means that you can be exposed to us a little bit longer too. So that's good.
And if we don't have any enemies, like we just give 2 of them to our friends.
Come on, that's right. So we especially want to make sure that you are aware of this, folks, because the immune system is going to be induced. You can count on that. I can guarantee you that. It's going to be induced because the viruses we know, not getting into that landmine of things, but they continue to mutate and we begin to live with these things. And even if we believe that there is a lot of biological warfare going on, which we do believe that, then we have to prepare our bodies to fight back. Our bodies are still superior. Hear what I'm saying. They're superior to any single thing of biological warfare that mankind can create, because the power of God's system is always stronger than the power of man's mind and man's creativity. Remember that, and fill your body up with the nutrients that the immune support packs contain.
And well, immune support packs, this is comparable to none other. And we can't wait to be sharing with you next.
We'll be right back. Well, that's like a marriage made in hell, isn't it? You know, like I look at the Food and Drug Administration and think, what do they have in common? You know, Hippocrates, did he say, let drugs be thy medicine, or what did he say?
He said, let food be thy medicine, and let medicine be thy food.
Oh my gosh.
So therefore, the most important medical decision that you make every single day is at the end of your fork. We call it fork curls.
And when you navigate through these economies with people, here's what happens. We want to hold their hand through it, let them know when it's time to buy, sell, reallocate, get out of Dodge. Because a lot of times when you're struck with fear does two things. Number one, it can paralyze, and people just put their head in the sand and say, I'm just going to forget about it and hopefully it gets better. Or it causes you to make a wrong decision. And this is why we are here, is to help people navigate through the political quagmire nonsense that's going on, the economic malaise, and the absolute collapse that we're seeing. And when our freedoms are eroding, our political freedoms, our economic freedoms, our personal freedoms, our religious freedoms, our health freedoms, they're all tied together. But you know what doesn't need to erode with that? Our finances.
KirkElliottPhD.com/Sherwood.
There's a lot of information out there that's absolutely toxic, but Kirk Elliott is not. He's speaking truth to us, and folks, we need to listen to that as well. Our detox system, just like our immune system we talked about in the previous segment, is extremely complex, extremely amazing, and extremely awesome at the same time. It's actually very difficult to understand, but it's also very reasonable and rational in its functionality.
Yes, the detox system, boy, if we look at what's in our external environment and our internal environment, our bodies are really challenged every single day with what's coming from the outside in and even from the inside trying to go out. So as we analyze the detox system, you can see there the endotoxins and the exotoxins far to the left. They come into the liver and they go through this phase 1, the cytochrome P450 system. If you look below that, look at all of those nutrients that phase is dependent upon. Phase 1 will then move into what's called an intermediary metabolite. That metabolite is highly toxic. You see down there in the lower corner there on the right where it says secondary tissue damage. If phase 1, if they're not neutralized by phase 2 conjugation pathways, they cannot be eliminated and may end up harming you. They cannot be excreted through the bile, the feces, or the urine. Also note below the intermediary metabolites, there's an antioxidant protective mechanism. Boy, our bodies are so intelligent. If phase 1 fails and phase 2 is failing, the antioxidant protective mechanism is there to pick up the slack. Now, note also below the antioxidant protective mechanism, it's very nutrient dependent. And also phase 2, it's very amino acid dependent. Can you say, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food? I don't know about you, but well, I didn't used to sit down to my dinner and go, do I have what I need for phase 1, phase 2, and the excretory systems of my body? But it's very important that we eat to live and we don't live to eat. That's a huge distinction coming our way because these bodies are nutrient dependent. They're not dependent upon cakes and cookies and candies to drive the dopamine pathways. We actually have to have nutrients to drive the detoxification pathways. And we're overabundantly barraged with toxins in our food and our water supply and even in the air that we breathe.
It's fascinating when you look at these nutrients that were listed there in that diagram. There's a lot of similarities of the nutrients that are listed in the immune system. So the body's need for these nutrients is apparent. So even when you do your immune support packs, as we talked about in the previous segment, we can actually see a benefit in the crossover. Now understand that when you don't get a toxin removed from your body, it's going to create that secondary tissue damage that Dr. Michelle mentioned, which is one of the immune system inducers that creates inflammation. So now you're starting to see how they all connect. This is important because both systems, the immune system and the detox system, require this wonderful thing called energy to operate in. And the next show, we're going to talk about energy. People all the time are saying, help, help, I need more energy.
Do
you need more energy? I think
Boy.
I do. I'd love more energy. You want more energy?
Want more energy. And the next section is going to help you with that New Year's resolution or that New Year's resolve.
It's never too late to start your New Year's, but you got to have energy to celebrate. If you want more energy, you're going to stay right with us, because when we come back on our next show, we're going to talk about how you can get energy and be at the top of your game so you can celebrate your New Year's resolution that does not begin January 1st. No. It begins today, because we want you to spend your 1,440 minutes in an awesome way, because you were made to be awesome. We'll look forward to seeing you next time right here on FurtherMore.
Bye for now.
We cannot continue as we are. The trajectory of our nation is going in the wrong direction. It is not saved by the government. It's saved because the people are the government. They stand up and do the right things, regardless of the cost. I think of our founding fathers, the 56 people that signed the Declaration of Independence. 56, not 5,600. They had to have some courage and guts to put their lives on the line for the right things. Do we have that, folks? Do you have that? How many have that kind of courage?